You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This is episode 271 of Horsemanship Radio, brought to you by Hands on Gloves, the all-in-one revolutionary bathing, grooming, shedding gloves. Today, I have a little celebration for you, Jen. Today, we celebrate 4 years with Hands on Gloves as our title sponsor. And then, of course, we've got Monty Roberts University, which goes back to 2013, because we've been on this journey now for 11 years. Amazing.
Wow. 11 years.
Unbelievable. That's ancient in podcast history, I think so.
Yeah, by podcast terms, you're old. You're almost ready for retirement. No.
Yeah. Well, we're not ready yet because we've got a big year of announcements with the movement. So our 8th annual, and I got together with Dad. So Monty Roberts is going to be announcing the presenters of the movement on this episode.
Oh, wow. Already. Look at that. Look at you.
That's right. It's coming up in June.
Boy. And you've got Monty chit-chatting today. You've got Barrett, who is one of Jamie's proteges, chatting on the show today. So we've got quite an interesting lineup coming up. And we're going to get right to those interviews after we chat a little bit about Hands on Gloves, as you mentioned, our title sponsor. It's interesting because it seems like such a simple product. It's a grooming glove. It's got little knobbly things on it. But
yes,
it's a very specific design. It's not like other grooming gloves that you've come across. And firstly, it is a really robust tool. A lot of times when you buy a grooming glove, after about 16, 18 months, they kind of fall apart.
Yep.
These things are very robust. And Florida is tough on grooming tools. Florida is tough on anything made of anything plasticky or rubber.
Is it? Yeah.
Soft down here.
Yes.
And they're very robust and they're washable. But I discovered grooming the other day that in the wintertime, when my horses have a little bit of a coat on them, I don't even bother with a bristle brush. They're cruddy. They're dirty. They alternate between covered with dust and covered with sweat. So the hair itself is really gritty and the brush doesn't do anything. So I curry and then I brush all with the gloves, which you can wear 2 of because they come in a pair. Hello. How smart was that? Who came up with this idea that a grooming glove should be one hand?
Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael Jackson. And then if there's dust on top, I just run a towel over it. I don't even bother with the bristly brushes. They are at the bottom of my grooming bucket, covered with dirt, and the cats sleep on them. So if you need yourself some grooming tools that are robust and useful and effective, go out and get yourself or your friend a pair. Yes, they come in pairs. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Hands on gloves. And they come in sizes, which is also important because most of the time, if ladies with smaller hands, the grooming glove is too big. Fellows with bigger hands, the grooming glove is too small. So they come in small, medium, and large. Thank you very much, Hands on Gloves. And now, on with the show.
Well, Jen, I wanted to share with you a little bit about our week here at Flags Up Farms at the California Horse Center. We had Jamie Jennings fly in, which is always really fun. And she does it spur of the moment, you know. And then she is usually in tow these days with her assistant if he's not in school. And he's graduated and interning now. His name is Barrett, Jessen. And he is if he wasn't 6 foot, 4 or something, I'd call him a mini Monty, but he sounds and talks like Dad. And I know that's because Jamie Jennings has been an amazing mentor to him because everything he knows is really pretty much absorbed from Jamie and her work with the off the track thoroughbreds and just the amazing amount of work. I mean, her stat is at 180 off the track thoroughbreds from Horse and Hound Rescue, retraining them and then adopting them out. 180 off the track thoroughbreds. That is an applause right there. But Barrett is a strong reason for at least half of them or so. And I wanted to sit down with him because he was here with Jamie. And then also they had Anna, their foreign exchange student from Germany. And I wanted to talk to him about an experience he had. He said he's very soft-spoken and very intelligent, got chosen to ride Dad's horse, Chrome. He said something about, this is pretty cool. And I loved him for it because he loves to ride, and you don't get to ride a real champion reiner very often because people won't let you very often. But you'll have to see what he says about this, Jen. He had fun doing it, but he actually, I think, was delighted to be able to talk to Dad about it afterward too. So I wanted to get a little bit of an interview, and he did take away some tips. So he does share some tips about that experience too, about how to get a reiner to spin. So listen in. Do you want to tell people a little bit about where you're from, Barrett?
Yeah, I grew up in Dallas, Texas, and just north of there in Richardson, Texas. And the last 4 years now, I've been going to school in Norman, Oklahoma, and got to meet Jamie Jennings through that avenue. So.
Mm-hmm. And we've had Barrett on our online university. He's helped us build dummy riders, and he's helped us train on some horses, some of the OTTBs. But it sounds like you're getting a pretty good education from Jamie. You're like a mini Monty.
Well, I don't know if I would say that, but I've definitely enjoyed getting to work with Jamie, and just the amount of horses that she gets to work with, from the thoroughbreds with the rescue as well as private horses. She just has so many horses with so many different backgrounds and potential issues that we get to work with and see. So learning Monty's methods has been wonderful, and getting to apply them to dozens of horses every month has been the best experience I could ask for.
I can't imagine a better experience, but you're also a very good student, so it's good. And I know that you're going into the corporate world too, but you can take a lot of these wonderful concepts with you into the corporate world too. It's not a bad thing. But you're here, and you were kind of on vacation. Let's call it a little R&R. But yesterday you got to ride a horse named Chrome. Nice Chrome. That's Dad's horse, right?
It is. He's definitely very nice. That's for sure.
He's nice. And he is nice Chrome, too. So, Mom, that's a homebred. He was bred here and trained by some good people. Really has had his full advantages. So he got to train on you a little bit. What'd you do on Chrome?
Well, we went out yesterday with Pat and Jamie and our exchange student Anna, and we rode around some of the arenas. And I definitely got some lessons in riding the nicest horses I've ever rode.
Oh, that's nice.
So that was wonderful. And Pat was showing me up on Blackie and giving me tips and pointers on how to not look so beginner on Chrome there.
Well, I wanted to hear about that. Yeah, so you did a few reining moves, or you were learning a few reining moves out there, and Chrome, your professor, was trying to help you. But tell me about that experience, because some people have never, like Anna, the exchange student, had never ridden in a Western saddle before. But you have. This is not an unheard of world of yours, right?
Yes, I've definitely spent a lot of days in a Western saddle, all of which have either been starting colts with Jamie or out on cattle ranches in Wyoming and Montana, doing everything from roping calves and doctoring to starting colts there as well. So plenty of miles in a Western saddle, but mostly just getting things gentle, not anything close to the show world and reining and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So watched a lot of it, have met a lot of folks through you guys as well involved in that, but never participated myself. So that was wonderful. Definitely huge learning curve to hop on something so trained and so athletic, which was wonderful.
That's great. I mean, would you recommend that somebody get to feel that horsemanship? So you did some extreme turning. Let's call it that. You did some spins out there. Is it kind of cool to actually feel what it should be, as opposed to trying to train, I guess, a horse to do that without a lot of experience? I don't know. What was your takeaway from that? Yeah.
I think it was wonderful to experience what it should be like, so I can take some of that back and go work on my horse and other horses in Oklahoma to know what the end goal is and what it should feel like, especially when Monty or Pat or you isn't there to help critique it along the way, kind of feel what that should be like. So that was definitely a wonderful experience, just to feel and experience that.
You really want to plant those back feet. Those are pivotal, right? And that's why those quarter horses have those big rear ends, so you know to not only go fast and push off, but they also use so much of their load from behind. So what was a tip maybe to get that horse loaded up behind and let that pivot?
Pat definitely helped out with that. A lot of it, I'm sure, was the 22 years of Chrome's wonderful riders on him. So, like we said, he was helping me out more than I was helping him. But Pat gave a really good tip in the spin. After you finish spinning, every time, if they don't automatically take half a step back them up half a step, just so that they're never even thinking of walking out of that spin while they're in it, or when they do finish walking forward. You just always want them to think backwards, if anything at all.
Yeah.
So that can help them kind of stay in that spin and pivot on that back foot really well.
Yeah, that is a good tip. That is a good tip. And that works for trail riders, you know, whether you're backing through an L or anything. I mean, backing up is probably more critical than going forward for a horse, right?
Yeah.
Dad talks about the 6 imperatives, and it's basically go left, go right, stand still. That's a good one. Go forward, go back. But the back is one of the first things he teaches horse. And the mounting block is another example of that. Did you guys use the mounting block yesterday?
We did use it to get on, and they were definitely very used to that, as I'm sure at least Chrome has spent some mounting block lessons before. So
Yeah, and that's one of the things we teach, and Jamie Jennings is very familiar with that mounting block, that we actually ask them to take a step back before they leave the mounting block, yeah?
Yes, we do that in Oklahoma. That was new to me until I got with Jamie, and she taught me that. So whether it's keeping them in the spin and keeping them pivoting on that back foot, or not walking off with you the second you put a leg over them, the back is a wonderful tool that they can teach themselves, really.
Great. Thanks for that tip, and thanks for sharing that experience. I appreciate you, Barrett.
Of course, I appreciate you guys having me out here at the farm and everything you guys do for us.
Hi, Debbie. I just had to write and tell you how much I'm enjoying Monty's podcast on Horsemanship Radio. You and Monty and your podcast guests are my company every evening while I'm feeding, cleaning, and finishing up barn chores for the day. I especially enjoyed the recent podcast 158 because so many of the guys that Monty talked about, and especially Greg Ward, were heroes of mine when I was growing up. It was really fun to be a fly on the wall listening to Monty recount all those stories. And I also enjoyed his discussion with Tanya Johnston about the deer and thigmotaxis. Thanks for all the great information you and your dad are spreading throughout the world. And thanks for making the time doing my barn chores no chore at all. All the best, Nan Meek.
And speaking of saying thanks to our advertisers, if you have a product or service, a business in other words, that aligns with the culture of Horsemanship Radio, we do have advertising spots available on the podcast. Just reach out to Debbie, easiest way is via the website, and get a conversation started.
So I've got Monty Roberts sitting here with me. Dad, hi. And hello. And Barrett built your dummy rider the last time he was here on campus, I think.
He was a big part of it. Yeah.
He was a big part of it. He followed directions well. And then he also rode a couple of your horses that we have here, off the track thoroughbreds and everything. So it was a lot of fun to have him. It was fun to have Jamie back. She brought her exchange student, Anna, with her. And that was a lot of fun. We were about to get together and talk a little bit about the movement and what's upcoming. And she had to dash off in a car because we have Dallas is freezing over and Los Angeles is burning up.
Oh,
so
awful. Yeah, it's a difficult time. And it's true that about a quarter of California is going up in flames.
Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully it won't be a quarter, but it's a pretty bad chunk of Los Angeles right now. So she is dashing off to the airport. So we thought we would fill in nicely anyway. And we wanted to talk about some of the exciting things that we learned about who can come to the movement. And we're talking June of 2025. And we talked to yesterday an Olympian jumper, and his name is Tad Coffin. And Tad was recently interviewed again by Jamie. And Tad is a friend of yours, has been out here, done a lesson or two on the uni as well, rode a big that horse had just been through an endurance. Looked part Frisian to me, I don't know. But he had a real sore back, and he wanted to show you this TheraTree that he put together. So we're going to have Tad, because he's come up with some other products that sort of are spawned off that same science that he uses to not only chill out horses, but sore-backed horses relax and are able to be worked on a little bit better. So that'll be fun to have Tad and Kelly, his wife, coming.
Yeah, it sure is. And they were here just a couple of days. But I love seeing people like that has worked hard to move up into this nonviolent training. And she certainly has. But I want to say, above all, the movement. The movement is one of the most important things that's happened to me in my life. And we had a movement way back in 1988 or something like that.
When you met the Queen?
Well, I wasn't going to let you say that.
Oh, okay,
but the movement is why I met the Queen.
Well, I guess.
And it was 88 because I met her in 89. Anyway, here we go with the movement. And we had a great audience here. We had wonderful people here. Mm-hmm. But there was two guys that were journalists, one from California and one from Florida. Mm. And each of them did a page.
Yeah, like an article.
For the thoroughbred industry.
That's true, yeah.
And the Queen gets both of those magazines. And I get a call saying the Queen wants to meet you. And I already had learned that she gave the two articles to her horse manager. And he read them overnight, came back, threw them on her desk, and said, "It's hogwash. Nobody can do what they say in here." And she said, "That's amazing. They're 3,000 miles apart, and they got together and mimicked one another? I don't understand." "I'll tell you what I'm going to do," the Queen said. "I'm going to send you to California to see it for yourself, and then report back to me how you see these two articles potentially coming together." And he came out, and he watched several horses, and he went back, and he said, "It's for real." And she said, "Get him over here. I want to meet him." Wow. The movement. The movement did it. And it was so funny because she kept saying 3,000 miles apart, they can't copy one another like that. Well, the movement is what it is. You stand there, you see it, or you put your phone on and see it, or you put your computer on and see it. And I don't know how to do any of those things.
Yes, all right.
But I know how to do what's on
what you're doing in
the movement.
Video. That's right.
And we've continued with getting top-notch people in several of the disciplines that happen within the horse industry. And we're seeing a significant change in the number of people that say, nonviolence maybe is the right way to go. And so the movement, for anybody that has anything to do with horses, you're not wasting your time when you watch the movement and you even try the things that the movement tells you about. I am a movement fan, big time.
Yeah, well, you have seen it evolve all these years. It's an important concept in so many different ways. It cross sections between, it's a movement for people to move away from violence in training. It's movement in horses, which makes them healthier and certainly happier. You know, there are just so many analogies to the name, the movement, but each one is different. So this year we have Tad Coffin, and Kelly, his wife, is an artist. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to put Mom, Pat Roberts, who does bronze sculptures for the most part, and Kelly, who does beautiful paintings of equines, you know, equestrian world. And we're going to put them together. That's going to be a big part of it too, so that we collaborate. I kind of see a Noah's Ark of people coming. So it's you and Jamie. We'll certainly have our gentler. But, you know, we always have, remember, Coffee and Cream and some of these horses that were so amazingly demonstrative of what the gentling process can do for a horse that goes from wild to willing, as they say, in a short amount of time. We'll also have Jared Rogerson back. I think I saw you and Mom dancing a little bit to Jared Rogerson, right? And he is a lot of fun. So we'll have that. We're going to start with we'll start at 1:00 on a Friday and work with our horses that afternoon. Then we'll have a little cheese and wine because we're in wine country here. And then we'll have our Jared Rogerson concert right on the heels of that. And then the next day we're going to go 9 to 4 full of presentations and education. And so it'll be really fun. So we've got Jamie, Monty, Pat, Kelly, Tad.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay, you interview.
What is the most important thing that you have seen or found out about because of the movement? And please tell me what that is.
Oh man, there's so many wonderful moments that we've done. This is our 8th annual formal movement. What came to mind right when you asked that was a time when Temple Grandin was up on she was on the edge of your round pen, and you were down in the round pen with Shy Boy. And you had this interplay of just watching and observing and communicating with Shy Boy. It was fantastic. And then I also toss up, this is a tough one. There is a wonderful veterinarian named Madison Siemens who specializes in eyes and also some medical areas too that I'm just fascinated by. But the eyes, they taught us so much. He showed how the horse's eyes took upwards of 5 minutes to adjust to a dark hole that looks a lot like the back of a trailer. And sometimes just allowing our horse the time to focus and open his eyes so that a light comes pouring in. They can see better than us in the dark. We change fast. So Madison, I thought, did the most incredible demonstration, and people went, oh, why didn't I think of that?
Well, I think the fact that the Queen saw it was maybe the most important thing that the movement ever did.
Yeah, online. She didn't come over here, but she did see it when we streamed
over there.
it.
And anyway, I sat down with her after meeting her. I was there 5 days with her, and I sat down for a lot of conversations because she was grabbing a hold of my ideas and wanted me to come back and do horses grande, lots of horses and stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, what was it about the movement that really caught your attention and pulled me over there? She said, well, you said that a teenage Mexican boy had come up here that didn't speak English, but wanted to show me something that he discovered that horses would do. And I said, okay, what is that? And he said, go get on the mounting block because you have a horse that has a reputation for being very hard to mount. I got up on the mounting block and he handed me a 30-foot line, the end of it, and took the horse 30 feet away from me. And then he stood there and dropped the snap and said, now you just coil it up, but you just look him in the eye, give him a whistle, cluck to him like that, and see what he does. And it was my horse. And he was difficult to mount.
Yep.
And I still have him.
Yeah, cool.
And he started walking toward me. And he walked 30 feet to the mounting block, stopped, and then turned sideways, and I put my foot in the stirrup and got on him, and I said, what in the world
did you do
is
with my
this
horse?
all about? You know? And a teenager that couldn't speak English. And so I did it in the movement. And when she saw that, she said, I have to get to know these people. I've had trouble all my life mounting horses. And my father was so tough on the trainers because they wanted to whip them all the time. And I didn't think whipping them was a good idea.
No.
But she absolutely fell in love with the consequences of the movement.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. It changed her mind completely. And she sent me to a bookstore that was antique books. And there was one book called
The Queen Rides?
The Queen Rides. And there was a story in there about one of the guys that her father fired. And she felt that she was guilty of letting him go instead of fussing with her father and keeping him, you know. But anyway, now she has Terry Pendry, who was a doubter in the beginning.
Of your concepts.
Of my concepts. But he told the Queen, it's a fake, you know. And he went through this whole thing. He's a wonderful guy, and he kept watching me, and then he tried it himself, and lo and behold, he could do it as well as I could do it. So the world is changing dramatically in the area of relationship between human and horse. And y'all can knock it, you can kick it in the teeth, you can say whatever you want. The facts are there. You were sitting in a room with 12 world championships.
We're in your famous saloon with all your trophies and hats and all kinds of fun stuff, photos and clippings all over the walls. It looks like one of those places where you go to an antique store and buy all these wonderful things and hang them all over the walls, except that these all belong to you.
They belong to me as trophies.
As trophies, yep.
You know, and I have to tell you that the Queen knows they were real now. But she was being told they were not real. And so she kept pressing them. And those people that were the most aggressively negative turned right around when they saw the horses doing what the horses are asked to do. So the movement, it's a movement up. Believe me, there's no movement down to this movement. It's a movement up, whether you're a veterinarian, whether you're a groomer, whether you ride ponies or dressage horses, it doesn't matter. The relationship is there, nonviolent, and you can't deny it. You watch the horses, and now there's so many people doing it that I don't even know how many people are doing it. And, well, God willing, I'll be there for this next movement. And if you don't come to it and you love horses, you're being silly, because there will be people there that you agree with. There'll be people that you question, and that's good. Question it and go home and give it a try and see what happens. The movement. See you there.
Whisper the language of the herd. Listen, you don't have to say a word.
It's time for Jamie Jennings to fetch an email from Monty Roberts' inbox and share a morsel of Monty's wisdom in a little segment we like to call Ask Monty.
Leave this world a better place than mine. The magic in the language of the herd.
Dear Monty, I have just acquired a nice 7-year-old ex-racehorse thoroughbred mare. She is very sane, quiet, and also 7 months pregnant. My problem is that she does not like to be groomed. She will pin her ears back and threaten with her back legs. She gnashes her teeth and attempts to bite when I brush her. Help! Monty's answer. It is inspiring that you're working with an ex-racehorse, and it's vitally important that these horses are given the chance to retrain and be useful partners after their racing careers are over. Please be aware that many ex-racehorses have become wonderful pleasure horses and even champions in competition. If you have ever seen racehorses being groomed at the track, you will notice that the horses are tied very short and high on the back wall of a box stall. One can easily imagine how this process might create a horse that is highly resentful of being groomed. The concepts inherent in the language equus are based upon the premise of always giving the horse the power to choose. Horses will react to any given procedure according to their level of comfort throughout the experience. It is important to realize that thoroughbred horses are inherently thin-skinned and sensitive to the touch. This may not be extreme for many of them, but I can assure you that it's critical to a high percentage. At the racetrack, professional grooms tend to disregard this sensitivity, tether them high on the wall, and groom harshly while standing in a position where they can't be kicked or bitten. My suggestion to you is that you change your grooming habits dramatically. Give a lot of baths and eliminate the brushing. Use a cloth to rub your horse's body when the hair is dry after a bath. Repeat the process with the cloth many times so that the horse comes to know that the grooming process can be painless. If you can do join up and cause the horse to want to be with you, this will be valuable. You'll form a closer relationship with your horse, which will assist you in stopping her aggressive behavior towards you. I also recommend schooling to the dually halter so that you can create a horse that knows the value of standing still. School with the dually, backing your horse up when she is negative and leaving the dually alone when she's positive. These remedial problems can be a lot of fun to work with if you take up the challenge and learn the language of your horse and create an attitude within your mind that you will work with her in the absence of pain and violence. We should be ever mindful of the fact that sensitive horses are often the high achievers. They tend to respond to our directions more quickly and generously than horses that lack sensitivity. This is not a major problem to overcome when you get your work right and respond to your horse in a respectful manner.
For more of these insights into good horsemanship, go to MontyRoberts.com and click on the words Ask Monty at the bottom of the page. Monty is looking forward to meeting some new friends, two-legged and four-legged. Here we are in January right now. We just yesterday, as we speak, started our new format, Introductory Course of Horsemanship in Monty's Concepts. So we're in the midst of that. We have 14 students in Module 1, Jen. So we're bringing in the big guns. We brought in Claire from Ireland. I've got Courtney Dunn, who's a local certified instructor here too. I've got James, who's an advanced student. And Monty, by the way, is also out there swinging, and it's a lot of fun. So 8 and 9 is happening right now. That's our Mod 1, 10 and 11. Join us if you can. Mod 2, that's the join up. And then 13, 15 is Introductory Course Module 3 on long lining, getting ready for the saddle. And then January 16, 17 is the horse behavior. And it's got a little horse welfare in there too. It's kind of fun. It's a little husbandry and a lot of stuff that's helpful to the introductory student. And then 20 through 21 is desensitizing. You know what a better word for that is? Because a lot of people say, I like to desensitize my horse and sensitize my horse. But I like the word habituation because I just want my horse not to fear things. So, and then 22 to 23 is trailer loading. Who doesn't know about a problem with trailer loading? If it wasn't yours, it will be yours next week. And January 19, Mountain Trail Play Day. That's our play day this month, and we'll have one every month throughout the year of 2025. And long-term planners, because we've been talking about the movement this whole episode. It's June 20, 21, 22. And I didn't tell you yet, Jen, who all's going to be in there. So Monty's gave us some hints, but basically we've got Monty, Jamie, that's a dynamic duo. We're working in the gentling pen with wild horses, and we're working with remedial issues in the round pen. Then we have our husband-wife team, Tad Coffin, Olympic champion, and Kelly, his wife, is an equine artist. Now, what's fun about Kelly is that she's drawn beautiful paintings of horses most of her career. And Pat Roberts, my mom, does the bronze sculpture. So they're going to have a session on the movement in horses. And that's a good theme, right? The movement. And also just suggestive ways of really nailing the conformation in art and providing us with a bunch of beauty as well for those who can't draw a stick figure. That's me. And then I've got Nelly Kennedy, who is coming. She's going through the PATH certification. She's going to tell us about corporate leadership and leading training. She's been doing that her whole life, but she's adding horses to the mix now and probably will nail it to be the best in the nation at it, because I can't imagine anybody else. And stay tuned for our Science Geeky. We'll have a veterinarian in here too, and we're still forming the session for that. But that's a pretty good start on it. But here's the concert we don't want to forget about. Jared Rogerson is coming back to sing to us too, and I'm so happy for that, because that just makes our whole weekend fun.
All of that and more can be found on the website montyroberts.com. And for details about today's show, you can go to montyroberts.com or horsemanshipradio.com, where you're going to find links, photos, and more information about today's guests and topics. And we would love you to join us on social media if you haven't done so already. On Facebook, it's Monty Roberts, the one with a little blue check mark. Platform formerly known as Twitter, now called X. I have a hard time with that. It's always Monty_Roberts. We kept it simple.
Yeah. And, that Instagram has been absolutely beautiful. Thank you to Drew and Christina, who've been working and helping me with that one. And they're also on Pinterest. And I'm hearing rumors of TikTok. I have no idea what they're talking about, but there's rumors that they're going to be on TikTok. But I mostly want to thank, again, our sponsors. Thank you for the 4 years, Jay Michelson and his team and HandsOnGloves. And here's to 4 more. And also Monty Roberts University, which is the reason for being on this from the first place. When Glenn approached us, he said, please use them as a sponsor. So thank you, Monty Roberts University, for your 860 odd lessons up there now too. Be sure to visit all the other great shows. There's so much to learn about horses, Jen. It's amazing. Be sure to visit all the other great shows on the Horse Radio Network at www.horseradionetwork.com. Until next time, have many happy horse hours.